Ever feel like you're trying to crack some kind of code when you're getting to know someone new? We got some really fascinating material from a listener that digs right into that feeling. The push and pull, the uncertainty.
That's right. We've been diving into excerpts from Jamie McGuire's Beautiful Disaster. We're focusing specifically on Abby Abernathy and Travis Maddox, looking at how their connection starts and, well, develops.
It really is a whirlwind, isn't it? These two people, seemingly polar opposites, just kind of crash into each other.
Exactly. And it's full of those confusing first impressions and really unexpected moments.
Okay, so let's get right into it. Their first proper interaction. It happens at a fight. Definitely sounds like Abby is out of her element.
Yeah, not her usual scene. And Travis accidentally stains her shirt.
And his reaction is, well, not exactly an apology, is it? He just nicknames her Pigeon, straight off the bat.
It is quite telling, that initial interaction, the spilled drink, the immediate nickname. It sets up this dynamic of, like, unexpected intrusion and maybe a weird kind of attention.
It definitely highlights the contrast between her world and his,
Yeah.
right? Throws her off balance.
Completely. And America and Shepley, her friends, their reactions kind of show that too.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing near the fighting circle?
And Abby, she doesn't seem charmed at all. She sees the tattoos, his whole attitude. She calls it forced indifference.
She's pretty dismissive.
Yeah, she basically tells him straight up, I'm not impressed. What do you think makes her so direct? Is it just defense?
I think it's largely defense. Yeah,
Huh.
she's probably feeling out of her depth,
Yep.
maybe a bit intimidated by the whole scene, and definitely by him. So drawing that line, saying, I'm not interested, it's about regaining control.
Setting a boundary right away.
Exactly. A strong initial defense mechanism.
But Travis doesn't really back off, does he? He keeps inviting her to hang out, but always kind of casually, with America and Shepley involved.
Yeah, it's persistent but low-key. Like,
Yeah.
he's testing her resistance without making it a direct, romantic pursuit.
Using the friends as a buffer.
Sort of. Creates a less threatening social situation. Lets him watch her, maybe trying to wear down that initial dismissal. It's actually quite a subtle strategy, keeping that door just slightly open.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting for me. Abby's internal reaction to him. It's not butterflies and excitement. She feels, quote, disorientated, nauseous.
Yeah, that's a strong reaction, almost primal.
It is, like a negative physical response almost. What's behind that, do you think? It's not typical attraction.
No, not at all. I think it suggests that, on some level, he represents a significant disruption to her sense of order, her equilibrium. It might be that stark contrast to what she thinks is safe or familiar. It's triggering something deeper.
Maybe a warning signal, even.
Could be. Or maybe just the sheer intensity of whatever connection is starting to form. Even it's confusing. It's definitely not simple infatuation.
And Travis, well, he's used to being the center of attention, isn't he? Doesn't usually have to beg girls to come over.
Right. So Abby's complete lack of fawning over him must be different. A real novelty.
Do you think that actually fuels his interest more? The challenge.
Oh, absolutely. For someone like him, used to easy attention, her indifference probably makes her stand out. It's a puzzle he wants to solve. It definitely piques his curiosity, I'd imagine.
Then we get these little glimpses behind the facade, like finding out he's a criminal justice major.
Yeah, that surprises Abby. She even jokes he seems more criminal and less justice.
It is kind of ironic. Do you think there's a deeper reason he'd choose that field? Or just a random detail?
It's hard to say for sure, but it does add complexity. Maybe it's intellectual curiosity about rules and consequences. Or maybe, and this is just speculation, it hints at some internal conflict, like a pull between his wilder side and a desire for order, perhaps.
Interesting thought. It definitely complicates the picture.
And then there's the mention of his family, strict father, and his mother dying when he was really young, just 3.
Right, and he just brushes off any sympathy. Very matter of fact.
Which is classic, isn't it? For someone who's experienced early loss or trauma, that stoicism is often a shield.
Masking vulnerability.
Exactly. A learned way to cope, maybe. To control how people see him, avoid appearing weak. It hints at a lot going on underneath.
And another surprise, he's in the same fraternity as Shepley, Sigma Tau.
Yeah, which again clashes with Abby's initial non-fraternity type image of him, with the fighting and the tattoos.
But then it turns out it's a family thing. His dad, his brothers.
Right, so it adds another layer. He's got this rebellious image, but he's also tied into these established structures, family tradition. It suggests he's navigating different worlds, different expectations.
It's a lot more complex than just bad boy.
Definitely. And despite everything, Abby does admit he's a good tutor.
Huh, yeah. Just a small thing, but it feels significant.
It is. It suggests she's seeing another side to him in that context. Maybe his intelligence or patience. It's a little crack in her defenses, acknowledging something positive beyond the surface stuff.
Okay, so things shift a bit. Abby starts noticing other guys, like Finch.
Ah, yes, Finch, who she finds cute in a, quote, preppy, missionary position kind of way.
Which is such a specific description. What does that tell us about where her head's at?
Well, it shows she's still open to, or maybe even actively looking for, more conventional options. Finch is the safe type, right? The kind of guy maybe she thinks she should be interested in.
Unlike Travis.
Exactly. It just highlights how unexpected her pull towards Travis really is, even for her.
Then comes the classic plot device.
Yeah.
The hot water goes out in the dorms.
And guess where she ends up staying?
Travis's apartment, of course. But she's clearly reluctant, making all sorts of assumptions about his bedroom, probably.
Understandably. She's probably worried about crossing lines, what her friends will think, falling for the wrong guy,
Yeah.
all that stuff. It's stepping way out of her comfort zone.
But Travis pulls another surprise. He says, "There's never been anyone in my bed but me."
And that he bags him on the couch,
Yeah.
which is quite a statement.
It is. What's the significance there? Is he just messing with her, or is it a real boundary?
I think it might be a genuine, if slightly weird, boundary. It immediately changes the dynamic of her staying there. It challenges her assumptions about him being completely casual about sex, at least in his personal space.
So she ends up sleeping in his bed, but with this, like, pillow barrier between them.
That whole scene is just packed with tension, isn't it? All this closeness, but deliberate separation.
And then he whispers, "Good night, pigeon." Almost. Tender.
It feels that way, yeah. The nickname sounds different there. Less teasing, more personal, maybe. Shows his restraint, surprisingly.
The next morning, America teases her about maybe not getting much sleep.
And Abby gets really defensive, right? Insists he barely breathed in my direction.
Yeah, like she's trying to convince herself as much as America. Why so defensive, you think?
Well, partly maybe she doesn't want America thinking things went further, but also maybe sharing his bed, even platonically, did affect her more than she wants to admit, so she's downplaying it to herself too.
Makes sense. So then the friends try to intervene more directly. America and Shepley try setting her up at a date party.
The classic friend intervention. They clearly see Travis as, well, trouble, or at least complicated.
They're trying to steer her towards someone safer, more conventional. Protecting her, basically.
Exactly. Which is understandable from their perspective.
But then, Travis hijacks the plan, offers to take her himself.
Even though the whole point of the party is for people who don't want to sleep together.
The irony. What's his angle there? Just wanting to keep her close.
I think so. It's a way to stay in her orbit, assert his presence without being overtly romantic, maybe undermine the setup attempts. It shows his focus is really narrowing in on her.
And his reasoning is fascinating. He says he has standards and he doesn't see her that way anymore.
That's a huge shift, isn't it, from the guy who nicknamed her after spilling a drink on her?
It really is.
Right.
What do you think that signals? Is he genuinely seeing her differently, or is it a line?
I think it signals a genuine shift. He's explicitly saying it's not just physical attraction now. That implies a deeper respect, maybe even burgeoning emotional connection. It's pivotal, changing the terms of their interaction.
But the past keeps bubbling up, like when Ethan brings up Travis's fighting history.
And Travis gets instantly protective of Abby. Jumps right down Ethan's throat, basically.
Yeah. It's protective, sure, but also kind of possessive. How do you read that?
It's both, I think. There's likely a genuine desire to shield her from awkwardness or judgment about his past. But yeah, it definitely borders on possessive too. Like, don't talk about my past in front of her. It hints at potential control issues down the line.
Later, we get Abby's internal monologue again. She watches him sleep and admits, the lines were becoming blurred and it was my fault.
Taking some responsibility.
Yeah. What prompts that self-awareness, do you think?
Just the accumulation of time spent together, maybe. Realizing her own actions, staying at his place, the tutoring, just being around him, are contributing to this shift. She can't just blame it all on him anymore. The initial resistance is fading.
We also get that little detail about her waking up early after drinking, just like Shepley does.
Does that tell us anything significant?
Maybe just a small character note. Shared habits can sometimes hint at similar coping mechanisms, maybe dealing with stress or anxiety. Adds a little depth beyond the good girl image.
Could be. Meanwhile, Parker is still around.
Right, Mr. Conventional, still asking her out, stopping her in the hall. He represents that other path, doesn't he?
Definitely. He's the stability option versus the Travis roller coaster. His presence keeps that tension alive, forces Abby to confront her choices. It definitely ramps up the stakes with Travis.
Then there's the wardrobe drama before another fight.
Oh, yeah. America wants her to wear something revealing.
And Travis basically forbids it, insists she change into something comfortable, like sweats.
That felt like a real flashpoint. Protectiveness crossing over into control.
It does feel that way. I mean, concern for her safety in that crowd is one thing, but dictating her clothes.
Yeah, it suggests he wants to control how she's seen, especially in his territory, where he's the main event. That possessiveness is becoming clearer and maybe a bit troubling.
And the fight itself sounds intense. Abby's genuinely scared in the crowd.
Which must be a stark reminder of the world Travis operates in. It's not just charm and tutoring, there's real danger and violence attached.
How do you think that experience shapes her view of him? Does it scare her off or pull her in more?
It could go either way, couldn't it? It forces her to confront the reality. It might amplify the attraction to his intensity, or it could solidify her fears about the risks of being with him. Probably a bit of both.
Things are definitely intensifying, and America decides she's had enough of the ambiguity.
She confronts Abby directly. You have spent almost every moment with him. Admit it, you have feelings for him.
No more subtle hints from the friends.
Nope. America's just laying it bare. She's the voice of reason, or maybe just the voice of the obvious, saying what everyone else can see, forcing Abby to face it.
And Travis kind of shows his hand too, doesn't he? When America suggests Abby go meet someone else at a party, he says, "I think you're making a mistake."
Yeah, not exactly subtle. The possessiveness is right there. He doesn't want her even looking elsewhere.
It's not "I love you," but it's clearly coming from a place of wanting her for himself.
Exactly. He sees her as significant now, even if he hasn't said the L word. His investment is clear.
Then the mix-up where America starts packing Abby's stuff, thinking she's leaving Travis's place after some fight they didn't have.
Oh, right. That just shows how confusing their whole dynamic is, even to their closest friends. Nobody really knows what's going on between them.
Highlights the lack of clear communication, maybe, and just the general volatility.
Totally. And then we learn more about Parker. Good family, Harvard dad, top scores.
Very impressive on paper. And he's interested in her brains, too. Surprised she's taking advanced calculus as a freshman.
Right. He represents that intellectual connection, social standing, the safe bet package. Very different from Travis's appeal.
But when Parker offers Abby his arm, Travis's reaction is immediate, that clenched jaw.
Jealousy, plain and simple, and visible. It shows how deep his feelings are running now. It's not just casual interest anymore. The thought of losing her to Parker clearly bothers him.
Yeah.
A lot.
America's just so exasperated with both of them.
You can feel her frustration. You're both so scared, you're fighting it tooth and nail.
And she has this complete faith in Travis. If you looked Travis in the eye and told him you wanted him, he would never look at another woman again.
Does she have a point? Is she seeing something Abby isn't?
I think America, knowing Travis maybe better than Abby does at this point, sees his capacity for loyalty once he actually commits. She believes he's reached that point with Abby, even if they won't admit it.
Then Travis throws Abby a surprise birthday party.
Which is a pretty big gesture, right? Especially for him.
Huge. It shows real thoughtfulness, effort, a desire to make her happy. It's miles away from the guy she first met. It really underlines how his feelings have evolved.
But the party isn't smooth sailing. There's Abby dancing awkwardly with Parker.
Yeah, Parker, the non-dancer, planning their second date. The contrast is almost comical.
It really emphasizes the chase she's facing. Predictable Parker versus, well, Travis.
And then Travis makes that weird comment about pawning the bracelet Parker gave her.
Right. What was that about? Just jealousy? Or something else? Does he need money?
It's ambiguous, isn't it? Could just be a petty jab driven by jealousy. But it does kind of hint at maybe some financial issues, or just a generally darker, more cynical side. Adds a layer of uncertainty about him.
Then comes the midnight birthday moment. Travis twirling her, that intense eye contact.
The room was frozen in time. Yeah, that's pure chemistry.
Undeniable connection right there. All the external stuff just falls away.
Exactly. It's just the two of them, caught in that magnetic pull. Powerful stuff.
But the roller coaster dips again. America confronts Abby in the car later.
Oh, she lets her have it, doesn't she? About making out with Parker right after Travis threw her that party.
Yeah, accuses her of basically playing games, not being happy with Parker. Anyway, why is America so upset?
I think she's frustrated seeing Abby sabotage what she perceives as a real connection with Travis. She feels Abby isn't being honest with herself or with either guy, and she's worried Abby's going to miss out on something real or hurt Travis or both.
And her final plea. You're both crazy about each other. Do something about it.
The voice of the audience, maybe? Just wanting them to stop messing around and admit it.
It's what everyone else can see. Meanwhile, the rumor mill is churning.
Of course. Whispers about them sleeping together.
And then conflicting rumors about Abby sleeping with Parker at the party venue, Brazil's.
Ugh. That just adds more fuel to the fire, doesn't it? More external pressure, more judgment, making it even harder for them to figure things out, honestly.
And Travis's reaction when he hears Chris making crude comments about Abby in the cafeteria.
Explosive. He just snaps. Physical violence right then and there.
Yeah. It's fiercely protective, but also really aggressive. What does that tell us? Is he losing control?
It shows that protected instinct is still incredibly strong, maybe bordering on uncontrollable when he feels Abby's honor is questioned. It's rooted in his feelings for her, definitely, but the immediate resort to violence. It raises red flags about his anger management, his coping mechanisms. It's a dark side.
Yet, despite all this chaos, they're spending more and more time together. And he's ignoring other girls completely.
Which is a big deal for Travis Maddox, presumably.
Right. It shows his focus is entirely on her now. It backs up America's assessment, maybe.
It certainly seems to. His actions suggest a real shift in priorities. He's demonstrating commitment in his own way.
Then comes a huge step. Abby initiates physical intimacy.
And Travis hesitates at first.
Yeah, briefly. But then his reservations vanished. It leads to them sleeping together. How does that change things?
Fundamentally, I think, it adds a whole new layer of intimacy, vulnerability, complication. Abby taking the lead is significant too, shows her desire overcoming her caution, and Travis's reaction. It wasn't just casual for him either. It definitely blurs those lines completely.
But Abby's reaction afterwards is, well, she tells America, this has just become one convoluted clusterfuck.
Huh. A perfect summary, really.
Why is she feeling so chaotic about it? Isn't it what she wanted on some level?
Maybe. But the reality is messy. There are still unresolved feelings. The Parker situation, the rumors, Travis's volatility. The physical intimacy hasn't magically fixed everything. It's just added another intense layer to an already complex clusterfuck.
And America's worried now, not just frustrated. She thinks Abby's going to hurt Travis.
Because she sees Travis has finally let his guard down, really trusted someone.
Yeah, she's concerned for his emotional well-being, which is a switch.
It highlights how vulnerable Travis actually is beneath the surface, especially now he's invested so much in Abby. America fears Abby's uncertainty will break that trust.
And yet, Abby still agrees to go to dinner with Parker after sleeping with Travis.
It's maddening, isn't it? But it perfectly shows her internal conflict.
What's holding her back from just choosing Travis? Is it just fear?
I think it's a mix of things. Fear of Travis's intensity, maybe fear of losing herself in the relationship, lingering desire for the safe option Parker represents, maybe even just confusion. She's not ready to fully commit and close that other door. She's hedging.
But the dinner with Parker doesn't lead anywhere. He tries to get physical, and she stops him.
Right. Says she's uncertain, her feelings are divided. That feels like progress, doesn't it? Honesty, at least.
It does. It shows she can't fake it with Parker. Her connection with Travis, however complicated, is making it impossible to pursue something else genuinely.
Then they go for that motorcycle ride.
The physical closeness, again, it seems to cut through all the confusion for Abby.
Physical proximity seems to be a shortcut to their emotional core, doesn't it? It bypasses the overthinking and just taps into that raw attraction.
And Travis drives differently on the way back. Slow, careful.
Which is so unlike him. Usually he's all speed and impulse.
What do you make of that change?
I think it shows real tenderness. He's savoring the moment, being considerate of her. It suggests a level of emotional awareness, a respect for her, and the connection that maybe wasn't there before. He's valuing the closeness.
And then outside her dorm, the big one.
The confession. I fucking love you, Abby.
And not just that, but more than I've loved anyone or anything ever. He lays it all out there.
Wow. That's huge. For someone like Travis, who masks his vulnerabilities so much, to be that explicit, it's incredibly significant, a massive emotional risk.
It leaves no doubt about his feelings. He's all in.
Totally. He's offering her everything, emotionally speaking.
So after that, they seem together, attending class, showing affection publicly.
Like they've crossed a threshold, acknowledging the relationship openly.
Seems like it. Integrating it into their normal lives. A step towards being a couple.
But Travis hasn't entirely changed his spots. He gets into it with Chris again over comments about Abby.
Still resorting to violence to defend her. Does that undercut the progress he's made?
It shows the struggle is ongoing, doesn't it? The protective instinct is still wired to aggression. He might have deeper feelings, but those ingrained behavioral patterns are hard to break. Growth isn't linear, I guess.
And Parker is still hovering, offering his warnings.
Yeah, the voice of doubt, telling Abby Travis will hurt her, that she's just a long-term challenge to him.
He's definitely playing on her insecurities, presenting himself as the safe harbor.
But Travis insists he'll prove Parker and everyone else wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And he has visibly changed towards other women now.
He's making a conscious effort. What does that deliberate action signify?
It signifies genuine commitment, I think. He's actively trying to modify his behavior to align with the relationship he wants with Abby. He's putting in the work, addressing the specific concerns people have. That's important.
But then, the Halloween party. Another test.
Right. His possessiveness flares up. Abby leaves with Finch for a minute.
And Travis immediately pulls her back. Old habits die hard.
Exactly. It shows those insecurities are still there, easily triggered. Balancing his love with that possessive streak is still a major challenge for him.
They actually talk about her being at his place all the time. She's hesitant to call it moving in, but he wants her there every night.
Navigating the practicalities. It highlights their growing affection and, yeah, maybe codependence, but also their different speeds regarding committed milestones.
And then Travis asks that vulnerable question, why me?
Asking why she chose him, essentially.
Yeah, and it leads him to admit he's had feelings for her right from the start, since that first messy meeting at the fight.
Wow, full circle. So it wasn't just annoyance or curiosity for him back then.
Apparently not. He says he felt something right away. It kind of reframes their entire tumultuous journey, doesn't it? Adds a sense of inevitability, almost.
It really does. Okay, so just when things seem intense, he takes her to meet the family. Unexpectedly.
Talk about escalating quickly. She's totally unprepared, panics. What kind of pressure is that?
Immense pressure. Thrown into the deep end with his entire family, dad, all the brothers. No prep, just here they are. She's likely terrified of being judged, not fitting in, messing things up with the people most important to him.
And we meet the Maddoxes. Jim, the dad, Trenton, Taylor, Tyler, Thomas. Quite the crew.
They seem lively, except maybe Thomas, who's more intense, reserved.
Yeah. What does that first impression tell us about Travis's background?
Probably a loud, maybe slightly overwhelming male-dominated environment, likely shaped his assertiveness. But Thomas being different suggests it wasn't a complete monolith.
The card game scene is something else. Abby trying to lose money to them.
Huh. Yeah, that's a unique strategy for winning favor. What's she trying to do there?
Maybe just trying to fit in, show she's not stuck up, willing to play along, maybe trying to diffuse any tension by being generous. It's kind of sweet in a weird way, trying to show she belongs.
Thomas just stares at her intensely.
And Travis immediately gets protective again, even with his own brother.
That possessiveness runs deep, doesn't it? He needs to shield her, establish she's his, even within the family circle.
Abby's worried they'll judge her for her past, but Travis shuts that down. I don't care what you were, I just want you.
That's powerful. What does that reassurance mean for her, do you think? Everything, probably. Given her insecurities, hearing that unconditional acceptance, I want you now, must be incredibly validating. It lets her off the hook for whatever she thinks defines her past.
But Thanksgiving with the family is still strained.
Yeah, the dad, Jim, notices. Asks point blank if they're having problems.
So the family dynamic adds another layer of stress. It's not just about them anymore.
Exactly. Jim's perceptive, sees the tension. Their issues are now playing out on a bigger stage, with family expectations involved.
Which leads to another incredibly honest moment from Travis. He tells Abby he'd be willing to just be friends if that would make her happy.
Wow. Even though he admits he can't imagine being with anyone else.
It's incredibly selfless, isn't it? What does that offer say about his growth?
It says a lot. He's putting her happiness above his own desires, moving from possessiveness to genuine, selfless love. That's huge emotional maturity for him.
And Abby's reaction, feeling that wrench inside, tells us his offer is the last thing she wants.
Right. Despite all the problems, the thought of just being friends is physically painful. It reveals just how deep her own feelings for him go, maybe deeper than she'd even admitted to herself.
They leave Thanksgiving early. Travis is sad, but the torment is gone, like some kind of resolution was reached.
Maybe acceptance. He put his feelings out there, offered her an out, and she chose to leave with him. It doesn't fix everything, but perhaps it brings a certain peace, a shared understanding.
But things aren't settled yet. Abby leaves Parker mid-dinner to go help someone named Brad.
And Travis just quietly supports her decision. No jealousy, no possessiveness there.
It feels like a real shift, doesn't it? Trust.
Yeah, genuine trust and respect. He's letting her handle her own business, supporting her choices even when they don't directly involve him or benefit him. That's healthy.
They even sneak into another underground fight together, back in his world.
What does it say that she's willing to go there with him now?
Maybe acceptance, trusting him to keep her safe, maybe even feeling a sense of belonging in his world now, despite the danger, sharing that part of his life.
And Travis naturally gets violent when someone shoves him in the circle.
Old habits. Is it still progress if the instinct is there, just maybe aimed differently?
That's the question, isn't it? Maybe it's about control and context. Reacting to a threat in that environment is different from controlling Abby's clothes. It's still violence, but the trigger is different. Still problematic, but maybe less about her directly. It's complex.
And then disaster strikes. A fire breaks out at the fight.
A real crisis.
Yeah.
Life or death stakes.
Puts everything else into sharp perspective, I imagine.
Absolutely. All the petty drama fades away when faced with real danger.
And in that chaos, Travis's only focus is Abby's safety. He tells her, "The only thing I'm afraid of is a life without you, Pigeon."
Wow. In that moment.
Yeah.
That's about as clear a declaration as you can get. His ultimate fear isn't the fire, it's losing her.
It carries immense weight, doesn't it, set under extreme duress?
Totally. It cuts through everything else.
And Abby's reply is immediate. "Then you have nothing to be afraid of. We're forever."
Just as powerful.
Wow.
A complete, unwavering commitment right back at him. In the face of death, basically.
What does that promise signify for her? Is she finally all in?
It sounds like it. In that critical moment, she realizes the depth of their bond, its importance above all else. It's a promise of endurance, a solidifying of their commitment, forged in fire, quite literally.
They reflect afterwards that their relationship, having survived all this turbulence, can basically withstand anything.
A hard-won confidence,
Yeah.
maybe. They've been through so much chaos, internal and external, and they're still standing, still choosing each other.
And that final image, Travis reaching for a velvet box.
Ah, the hint of a proposal.
Yeah. And he says he knew the box belonged on your perfect little finger. It feels like a definitive step towards a future.
It definitely suggests commitment, doesn't it? A move towards permanence, building a life together. It's a very hopeful, romantic ending note after all the turmoil.
So, looking back at this whole journey, the push and pull, the outside pressures, those moments of just raw connection, what are the key takeaways about Abby and Travis?
Well, we definitely see surprising vulnerability under Travis's tough guy act. And we see Abby find her strength, become more self-aware as she grapples with these intense feelings. Their story really challenges neat categories, doesn't it?
It really does. It shows how intense bonds can form in the weirdest ways, forcing people to confront their own stuff and maybe grow because of it.
Exactly. It's not a fairy tale, but it's about finding connection amidst the chaos.
It makes you think, doesn't it, about navigating those really intense connections in our own lives. How unexpected things, a crisis, a confession, even a shared moment of quiet understanding can completely change the game, solidify things, or break them.
Hmm.
What does their story really tell us about change? About being vulnerable and, that leap of faith it takes to actually commit to someone, flaws and all.
That's the provocative thought, isn't it? Their journey, so full of passion and, frankly, dysfunction at times, really pushes us to look at the messy reality of deep connections. How people change, how commitment is tested, and maybe sometimes found on the most unexpected, turbulent paths. It's definitely something to reflect on.